The American Dream
avec le génie français.
All right. Hello, amazing tech and business lovers. Here we are, the Facebook Live of the French Tech, and we have Dan with us, Daniel, the great CEO of iValua Inc., an amazing French Tech success story, and he's going to tell us a lot about that. Please connect and ask questions. We want to be as interactive as possible, and I'm going to relay all your questions. He's there to answer all your questions. So post questions. I have my computer on my side. I'm going to be your spokesperson. Let's go. Okay, so Dan, thank you very much for this session.
Thank you for inviting me. So I'm very happy to share this hour with you.
Perfect.
I'll try to share my humble experience with you, the do's and don'ts, the successes, the failures, so that I hope you can learn something from this session.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, in French tech, so France is known for these beautiful gems like chouquettes. And in French tech too, we have beautiful gems and wonderful things.
I'll have one.
So I'll have one. Enjoy.
Delicious.
So iValua, it's the same for spend management. Okay. So Dan, can you tell us a little bit about your personal story, what iValua is, introduce that to our viewers?
So briefly, I'll start by a quick background about me. So I graduated from a business school from ESSEC in 1991, so a long time ago. So I'm not an engineer, even if I work in tech. I started by working in consulting, in Gemini Consulting for 9 years. Then I had the opportunity to create an internet company in year 2000 that I sold in 2002, and I joined iValua in the very beginning in 2003.
Excellent.
So what is iValua? Because you may not know about us and what we do. So we are a French company, software company, enterprise software. It means that we sell our solution to mostly to large accounts, so large and global accounts, companies very often beyond $10 billion revenue. And what we sell is a solution to optimize their procurement. So what does it mean? It means managing their RFPs, their auctions with their suppliers, managing contracts, streamlining their procure-to-pay processes, managing supplier invoices. So it's all about the management of the procurement function. So our customers are really the CPOs, the chief procurement officers, and their teams.
Excellent. So one of the proof of your success is obviously all the customers you have. Maybe you can.
Yeah, we can share a few names.
So people realize.
Yeah, so of course we have French customers because we started in France in the very beginning. So we have EDF, Thales, Orange, Total, which are
so
a few
big names, big companies.
But we also have American names since we started our business in the US in 2011. A few examples: we have Honeywell, we have Whirlpool, we have the City of New York. We have more than 40 customers. Most of them are large American companies. Since we started our business in
absolutely.
2011.
And for our viewers to fully understand, so for these companies, it's like global contracts, and they take your software and they like manage everything they purchase through your software.
It really gives them some visibility on where they buy, to who, and how they can optimize what we call their spend, the amount of money they spend to procure some raw materials, every item a company has to buy usually goes through our system.
Yeah, and just for everybody to understand, it's the core business of these companies. It's billions of dollars that they spend.
Yeah, we estimate that we process more than $500 billion of spend.
500 billion, half a trillion.
Companies. So
Okay.
maybe a few key figures about the company to
Yeah.
just understand where we are now. So the company was created 17 years ago. So we had time to build a solid platform, solid solution, but also to grow. So today we are 250 employees. This year we'll make around $50 million revenue. We'll get, I think we'll be profitable as we've almost always been since the very beginning. With a really good growth, because we think we'll have 40 to 50% growth again this year.
And we wish you even more.
Yeah.
So one of the news for iValua is the big round you raised.
Yeah.
Can you tell us
Yes.
a little quickly about that?
Yeah, so 6 months ago we decided to have a fundraising process for another round of financing, of funding for our company. And so we decided to raise money from KKR, which is a leading US private equity firm.
Very well known.
And we raised $70 million to help us accelerate our growth, to continue to expand geographically, and to finance even more innovation on our product.
Excellent. Beautiful, and more things going ahead and coming at iValua. So, just personal questions. Why Silicon Valley in the first place? Why did you come here? Why did it make you decide to choose that compared to East Coast? I know that you have expanded now to East Coast, but first,
the logic would have been to go to the East Coast, where most of our customers are. So our customers are the typical large companies, large banks, and most of them are East Coast or Midwest. They are not in the West Coast. So we decided to come to the West Coast because the first employees that we had, they were from here, and I have to admit that it was not a bad destination for me, who volunteered to go to the US to develop our business. So by the way, it was a great move, a big change for me personally, because I came with my family, my wife and my 4 daughters, and so you can imagine all the adjustments for the first years, where my girls didn't speak a word in English, and they were thrown into American schools from day one. But after all, we think it was the right choice, and we are. Personally, we are happy with this move because it was a new adventure for the whole family, and professionally, it's also we think it was a great choice, even if the customers are far from the West Coast, because this is all about the image that you are projecting for the company. Silicon Valley is related to a culture of innovation, strong innovation. So from the moment we came to the US, we had a completely different image of the company, even in France. I remember we had some difficulties in selling in some very large accounts because they said you are too much French, you are not a really global company, etc. From the day we were established in the US, in particular in the Silicon Valley,
doors were open.
It completely changed. We are perceived as a global company with not only a French culture but American culture as well, and it helped us not only to develop our business in the US, but also it accelerated our business penetration in France.
So a quick point of view, and go with a personal one, and this is a question from Stefan Casriel. So he said, I would love to hear how he thinks, how you think about which role you put in France versus which role you put in the US, and particularly which strengths and weaknesses of the talent in each market.
Yeah, it's a great question, because I think we continue to think about that every day. Which kind of function, of corporate function, should we have in France and which one in the US? So for us, we kept the HQ, the headquarters, in Paris. We are based in Orsay, in the suburb of Paris. So all the financial function, the corporate function are there. We also historically have our R&D teams, engineering team, product management team in France, and so the management of this team is still in France, even if we have some R&D engineers now in the US too. And I think
Silicon Valley here in your offices here?
In the office here. And we have now 2 offices in the US. We have one in Redwood City in the Silicon Valley, 30 minutes south of San Francisco, and one in New York, because we needed to have especially our professional services and support teams close to our customers. So that's why we have two offices. So I would say in terms of function, the R&D is still managed from France, and we are very happy with that because I think we have great engineers, and that the French tech, we have the reputation, it's justified, in my opinion, to build great products, very advanced in terms of engineering. I would say more advanced than what I've seen in the US. I think we are great to deal with complex engineering in France, and that's why our team are there. Where the US are stronger is definitely for marketing. We learned a lot from the US in terms of marketing and how to go to the market, promote our product and our brand, etc. So the corporate marketing function is based in the US. Our CMO, our Chief Marketing Officer, is an American and is driven by the US and really helped French marketing to elevate their aggressiveness and the level and the sophistication of all the campaigns that we do in Europe.
So when you came here and you professionalized your marketing in some way and you globalized your marketing, what did you see change? I mean, is it the reach, the rhythm, the way people talk?
I mean, digital marketing, usual marketing like events, etc., we do it the same way in Europe and in France and in the US. But digital marketing, Americans are definitely more advanced, more sophisticated in reaching out to our targets and in messaging perfectly the product and the company to each category of targets. So, as a result, we've been ranked by top analysts. Just to give you an idea, in 2011, we were, I'm sure you're familiar with the Magic Quadrant, which is a matrix from Gartner ranking the different vendors. We were in the bottom left of the quadrant, and now we are one of the leaders on top right.
Awesome.
And not only because of marketing, also because of all the success stories we had, not only in France and in Europe, but also in the US, and that helped us build the brand and the image in North America.
So maybe let's talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. So first, maybe some cultural differences you see between France and the US and Europe in general, and in terms of entrepreneurship.
A lot of differences. So in the US, and it's in particular in the Silicon Valley, which is again not all the US, but is a very specific, very special world in itself. Everything is going faster. So when I say everything, when you want to recruit someone, it happens that we interview someone on Wednesday. On Thursday, we send him an offer. On Friday, you accept the offer, and on Monday, this person starts. So it's a lot of there's a lot of flexibility in the employment market. In France, we know it takes more time. So there's good and bad with that, because you also have some employees saying, hey, tomorrow I found another offer, so I won't be here working tomorrow, goodbye. So, and it can be surprising because you have to deal with someone who was critical for you, who leaves within 24 hours. When you get 2-week notice, you're happy here. So sometimes it's less than that. It's just a few, 1 day or 2 days. So this is one important difference. Of course, there are a lot of cultural differences, and I would take an example in a relationship between employees. As an example, something that could be interpreted in France as just a joke, maybe interpreted in the US as something offending or sexual harassment. So we had to have a special training with all our employees to make sure everybody understands what the rules are in the US, which are very different from France. So in terms also of behavior and culture, there are big differences. For entrepreneurs, I would say that what struck me when I arrived is to see that the entrepreneurs in the US, especially in the Silicon Valley, they are very ambitious. They think big from the very beginning, and they are not afraid at all to think big and to go fast. I would say that at least when I was in France, I was seeing a lot of fears of French entrepreneurs. Should we go outside France? But should we take that kind of risk? And it's very linked with the financing, the VC world.
It's more about profitability than growth.
When you raise a few $1 million in France, it's the same company would raise probably 10 times this amount here in the Silicon Valley.
Okay, back on your story.
Yeah.
So when you arrive, it was not immediate success and growth, and that's very interesting to me.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us about that?
So I have to admit, we almost failed, and we were close to give up and to go back to France and say, okay, we tried, and
that's fantastically interesting for all people.
And that's fine, because honestly, when we came, we said, okay, we have probably a low percentage of chance to be successful in the US because we are fighting against big players who are American companies who have a strong brand, and we arrived with no brand at all, and with a small team of a few people in the US. So the first 2 years were very difficult. I remember that we received some RFPs, so some requests for proposal every week. During those 2 years, we responded to, I think, more than 50 RFPs, and you have to know that just responding an RFP is
it's a
long list of questionnaires, and it takes a few days.
A lot of effort,
And you know how many we won? 0.
Wow.
0. So we needed to be very persistent to believe in our product and in our destiny, and we lost, but there was some hope for 2 reasons. Because we were always in the second or third place. We were not in the 10th place. We were close to win, and this was always the same reason why we lost. They were saying, hey, we love your product, we love the people we've seen, but who knows what you will be in 3 years. You have a small team. We don't know you, our CFO and our finance.
B2B is all about trust, and
it's a big risk for us. And more than that, you couldn't present American references that we can talk to, because when they like your product, they like the people, then they want to talk to a customer who has implemented your solution. So
you had a chasm to cross.
We knew that we had a great product, and it's probably the most important thing is to know that you have a solid enough product with strong differentiators to your competition. And again, I think we underestimate in France how good our products are and how advanced in terms of technology they are compared to the US, which have much more simple tools, very well packaged, wrapped with a nice UI, but much more simplistic, and sometimes too much simplistic to address complex situations from customers. So we knew we had a great product. We had this feedback from the customer. So we had to crack the system, finding the references. So the idea we had, and it really changed the rules of the game for us, is that we called some French references who spoke English. Good enough. It was not perfect, but good enough. And we flew them from France. We told them, hey, we are going to organize a nice tour for you. You're going to meet with 10 different customers, and we would like you to share why you selected iValua, and after 5 years, 7 years, 8 years with us, how happy you are and why. So we had the chance to have a CP or a director of procurement of a company that I won't name, who came, who visited those 10 customers with us. And guess what? We won eight projects out of 10 in 2013. So it was big surprise for us. And then we had to deliver. So this was a new problem. We had sold great projects and we had to deliver. And we needed to grow and scale up our team. We had a delivery team, but it was not big enough to support all those projects together. So we recruited some people. We had some French engineers who came to support us. We had David, the founder, who relocated in the US in 2013 to help us deliver all those projects. Because the next challenge was, okay, we won those projects, but this is only the beginning of the story. Now we have to deliver, and we need to have satisfied customers if we want them to be a reference, American references for the next wave of projects. And so in 2014, we didn't grow that much in the US, but we focused on delivery. And it was a tough year because we had all this work that we had to deliver in very
good problems
compressed
in some way.
Time frame.
Yeah.
But finally it worked, and we had those
out
first references, and then we were able to recruit a larger sales team because we knew the model was working. We knew we had a great product. We knew we were able to deliver in the US successfully. And so we were ready to accelerate in our sales. In 2014 and 15, we recruited a full sales team with great people from the competition. And we started to accelerate our growth. And we continue to sell more projects in bigger companies.
It's very interesting. So it was a question from Michael. Yeah. He was curious when to continue and when to give up, move on, or pivot on a specific idea. And so how would you summarize? As you said, you knew you were close, you knew you had some hints that the product was good, and you were that close, and you just needed to bring some trust.
I would say the most important thing for me is to be convinced that you have a product which is differentiating enough to win against the competition. This is what the US companies look first. They want to assess your product. If they like your product, they are ready to take much more risks than a French company would do. They are much more open. As soon as they trust you, I had to go and say, I'm the CEO for iValua Americas. I'm one of the co-founders. You can trust me. If I'm here, you have my neck on the table, and I'm ready to commit to your success. But
it's still here. The neck is still here.
So you have to personally commit, and what they do, they bet on the company, they bet on the product, and they bet on you.
And they bet on the team.
Personally.
So one question from Edwin, he asked, he wanted to have your perspective on what makes a good team and how your team got stronger by combining the cultural differences. It's not obvious. So you said you trained some people about.
So for me, the most important, what makes a good team, there are a few things, but you need to have a true relationship between the people and trust, because we are dealing with complex things to build a product, to deliver some project, and so there are bumps all over the way. There are bumps, and you have to resolve some issues every day. And if you have people who don't trust each other and who are not ready to truly collaborate to resolve those issues, it doesn't work. Having just some individual working on resolving issues doesn't work. So working as a team and really with trust is something really key. And being, so the second thing I have in mind is having your people being in a continuous search for personal development. So willing to learn and to improve their way of working. So that's very important. So sometimes it's a little bit stretch for people.
So learning ability, the coachability maybe.
People who are willing to grow fast and who are ready to be stretched, not to stay in their comfort zone. It's very important, especially in a company with huge growth, where we had some people who are simple engineers or project managers who became a manager of a team very quickly because we grew up so fast. So you need to take some risk to give the opportunity to your people, the people you trust the most, to take those managing positions, even if they are not fully trained, not fully experienced. But that's the way we tried. We preferred promoting internally the best talents and stretch them as much as they can be stretched and they want to be stretched, rather than importing some very senior managers,
understand.
but maybe with not a good fit, not a perfect
So
fit.
you had to hire a lot of people.
Yeah, and we are still
And
hiring
you have
crazy.
yeah. I think you have the objective of doubling the size
So
of the company in like next 6 months. Or
Yeah,
so.
we are 250 now, and our plan within in the next 15 months is to be 400.
Wow.
So it's a lot of people to recruit, and you need to find the right people. You need to keep them happy. You need to grow them. You need to keep the DNA of the company, which is a big challenge when you grow fast. How do you keep the DNA and the strong DNA which made the success of the company? How do you keep it alive?
So how do you do yourself?
It's
a challenge,
so
obviously.
It's a challenge, but we do it through the manager. The managers are critical. We need to make sure that they embrace our culture, our DNA, and that they transmit it, and they really are impregnated by it, and they really coach the new hires to get that too. Another thing we are creating now this week, next week is starting, the first one is starting an integration week, which is global. So all the new hires from Europe, from Asia, from the US, they are put together in a same room during a week, and they are going through multiple presentation, interaction sessions with existing managers, so that they understand where we come from, what our strategy is, what the future will be, and what we expect from them.
So you won several awards, including the French American Business Awards last year.
Yeah.
What impact do you see it on your business? You talked about Gartner, awards like that. So
biggest impact is the analysts, more than the FABA awards. Analysts, because we are in a market where companies, when they have a project of replacing a system or acquiring a system for their procurement function, they are going to read, first thing they are going to do is doing some research about the company they want to invite to the dance, invite to compete, to get their business. So it's the first thing they do, they read the analyst reports, and they try to pick the top 5 or 6, and they send them the RFPs. So thanks to that, because we are very well ranked by Gartner, also Forrester, Spend Matters, all are the analysts of our market, I have to say that we don't really have to prospect. We receive RFPs from companies who have projects every day. And so our role, what we need to do is to manage the sales process very well and win against the competition. So every time it's a battle, but we learn how to beat our competitors, and I'm very proud of the win rate that we have, that is close to 50% right now. So it means we win 1 RFP out of 2, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it's a great percentage. So definitely, as you told us, you managed to leverage your existing customers as ambassadors for others.
Yeah. That
was it
very important.
So great product, obviously. How was the relationship so that you could have access to that? And as you told us, you had some customer ready to give you time and fly to the US, do the tour with you.
Yeah. So
that
US customers, they are. I think
that was a question
they are more
from Aurelia.
I think they are more demanding than European clients in general. So first, legal is much more important in the contract. You spend a lot of time with the American customers to negotiate the contract with all the implications in case of issue, what happens, how they can terminate the contract, what are the conditions, etc. So we spend a lot of time to imagine all the cases that can happen in the relationship. So legal is much more important than it is in Europe. Second, of course, you need to be successful on the implementation of the project. They need to have the product they expected. It needs to be deployed, and they need to get the value they expected from the product. But what is also very important, I think, what is the DNA of iValua, is to manage to create intimacy and trustful relationship with our customers. because there are always bumps in projects like that. It's not an
It's
easy
huge project.
It's not an easy journey.
There are years
always issues, whether they are technical or deployment issues or political aspects you need to manage with the customer. So the question is not so much, are we going to have some issues in this project? Is, okay, we'll have some issues. How do we manage those issues in an efficient way and in a way where the customer really sees that we are working for his success sincerely? All our people are really customer-centric, customer-driven by customer success.
Neck on the table, as you said.
And their main objective is to have our customers happy. From salespeople to support and maintenance people to delivery people.
So question from Itai, how do you manage after that many years to still be innovative in the product?
Yeah,
Is it from customer, as I said, you're so customer-centric that they push you to innovate? Is it from
so that's a race.
David, the visionary product?
So we have the chance to have a CEO, David, who is a top engineer. I mean, he's a PhD in math, is from Polytechnique, so is very involved in the product management and really has the vision for the product. And if we have this great product, it's because of all the great work from the engineering team that has been working on it for 17 years. But it's a never-ending race. I mean, competitors also invest, so we need to keep the pace of strong innovation, strong investment in the product. Just to give you an idea, we are doubling the size of our R&D team in the next 12 months. Doubling. So a lot of innovation to come. And because if you want to stay in the leadership as a leader, as a global leader among the top 3 players in the world, you need to continue to have a strong pace of innovation.
Absolutely.
You cannot rely
so
on
question from Caroline. She would like to hear what major disruption could impact the business you're in. So both maybe on the client side and on your landscape itself.
Yeah. So procurement function is usually a very conservative function. It's not marketing, embracing new technology, innovation. So
still, you were able yourself to displace a lot of incumbents.
Yeah.
So you brought disruption.
I think the disruption that we brought to the market, and that is strongly recognized now by analysts and customers, and is a huge differentiator for us, is that we managed to provide an enterprise solution to deal with complex issues, complex processes to support with zero custom code. So if I come back like 10 years ago, when a large account was saying, hey, I need this feature that you don't have in your product, we needed to add some code, okay? But it was a nightmare to maintain, and it was creating instability, etc. So what our engineering team did very early is develop a platform, a technology, enabling to have a great flexibility of configuration, but without doing custom code. So now our
the flexibility and the robustness.
Our speech is very powerful. We say, you have the flexibility that you want, but you have the robustness of a cloud standard solution. And they love that, because the large accounts, they are not ready to change their processes that sometimes they've built for years, and to adjust to the product, to a cloud product that wouldn't be flexible. What they want is the flexibility, but they hate custom code. And this is the major disruption that we are bringing to the market right now, that no other player has, and which is the reason why we have a high win rate especially for large customers, both in Europe and the US.
And you see, I mean, there are a lot of buzzwords these days: AI, Bitcoin.
So AI will definitely impact the way procurement works for predictive analytics, for fraud detection, for like Amazon. What happens with Amazon when you buy, you shop from Amazon, is it's happening on the B2B the same way, with some years after Amazon did it. So a lot of the AI function that you have in Amazon today, you will find them in a solution like ours in a few months.
And about Bitcoin and all this, do you see any of your?
No, it's too early.
We've seen some banks starting their own blockchain. Do you see any of your clients?
Too early.
Too early.
It will certainly come, but we have time.
Okay. So one of your main challenge right now is growth.
Yeah.
How do you handle the structure, the build phase where you need to put processes in place, make sure everybody is trained, hire, and do that all together, all at the same time?
So it's probably more than 50% of my job, of my focus today, is to anticipate and manage the growth and the scale up of all functions. So you need two things. You need to scale up your teams, you need more people to deliver, you need more people to sell, etc. So you need to recruit, and as you have bigger teams, you need to implement more processes to structure.
Do you try to write a lot of things, or do you try to train people?
We have to. I mean, when you are relatively small, you can afford to have all verbally. People it can be enough to have verbal rules and processes, etc. When you reach a critical size, it's not enough because people don't know what they are supposed to do. They don't know how they are supposed to interact with each other. So you need to formalize much more processes, and this is what we do right now. So this is the first aspect of growth. The second aspect is infrastructure. You need to build some more infrastructure of function that were not necessary before. That you need to have to manage this larger team. So you need a bigger HR function, you need a bigger finance function, you need a bigger legal function. All that we were relatively small in those functions, and as we grow, we need to build this infrastructure too. So my challenge for the next years, especially for my region, which is America, is to manage, let's say, the day-to-day operations and make sure we are making the right decision every day. Every day we have sometimes hard decisions to make. Do we accept this amount of discount for this client? Do we accept that they change the terms of our standard contract? Do we accept to change the SLA? Staffing decisions. So very operational day-to-day decision that you have to make every day. So this is part of the job. And this is probably 50%. There's another 50% which is have a longer horizon of time you're looking at for building the company. Anticipate what we have to build to reach our target in a year or two. So the second horizon of time is 12 to 24 months to have in mind and to anticipate all the decisions, all the infrastructure you need to build to be there in 12 to 24 months. And I would say the third horizon of time, which is sometimes hard to find some time to work on it, but it's to anticipate, okay, in 5 years from here, what will be our market, where our competitors will be, what our vision is, and where we should be. And so what I find exciting but also challenging is to have to manage those three horizons of time at the same time. And every day you need to share your day working on those three horizons of time at the same time.
I see. So how do you personally handle that role of CEO? And Musk says that all the time, so that you have to, he summarized that by eating glass. So all the shit that no one wants to do, bubbles up to you. And
so it's true that what you get when you are the CEO of an entity is all that was unresolved by operational team, and they escalate to you because they need a decision. So it's not always all the shit, but very often it is, and you have to deal with this. And teams expect a quick decision, and you have to make sometimes tough calls, whether it's giving tough feedback to someone or terminating the contract of an employee, or saying no to a partner or no to a customer. So sometimes you have tough decisions to make, and you need to be quick because, again, in the US, the expectation is that decisions are made fast enough to keep the pace of operations. So that's that's something.
Question from Cassie. She would like to know, how do you recharge when you're
So very
feeling
simple.
drained with all that, all those tasks and challenges and reactivity and pressure? How do you recharge?
So what energizes me on the day-to-day is the overall challenge of the company, that we are trying to build a global leader in our market. We clearly want to be number one, and today we are in the top 3 of the global players. But we think we have a good shot to be really number one in the coming years, and this is very exciting. That being said, I am not saying that every day I'm always energetic, etc.
150%.
So for me, to recharge is very simple. It's whether by doing sport, practicing sport, or seeing my friends and my family. So very simple.
Excellent. So how do you optimize your time? I mean, what's funny is that we read tons of very different things, from Musk, who has 100+ hour week, to books and friends who say, hey, just work 4 hours a week and take insights and everything will be...
I don't believe in those models. I think a 4-hour work per week is completely unrealistic with a CEO job. On the other side, I think the life of Elon Musk is like crazy. I don't know how he can manage 2 or 3 companies much bigger than ours. Yeah. When I see how challenging it is to manage a company like iValua. So no, I think in my opinion, it's a balance. It's in the middle. You have to work a very significant number of hours, but you shouldn't do it like crazy, because again, it's a marathon. We've been in our business for 17 years. We've seen a lot of competitors growing like crazy and then crashing like crazy, and we are still here. We are still here with the same management team, and we are working to be still here in 5-10 years. So we are looking for the very long term, and you need to. So
there was a question from Vincent. He asked you that, do you see your role as running many small distances on different trails, or doing a very long run, like a marathon on one trail? Or both, long on several trails?
It's like the response is neither one. It's like doing fragmented running. So you run, then you are going to do a sprint for 30 seconds, then you are going to go back to a slower pace, and then you are going to do another sprint. So it's a succession of, the high interval training. So I see it like high interval training with period of relative rest and slow pace, and periods where you really need to accelerate and to go full steam.
One question from, where was it? I think it's Catherine who was that. So what did you learn with working with American customers? We go back a little bit to what we said, but...
What I learned is when I arrived in the US, I underestimated the power of our product. We thought we had a good product, but we expected that American large companies, large competitors would have much better product than us. What we discovered with the feedback of our customers is we had a pretty unique and very strong solution, and that we didn't realize it before having the feedback from the customers.
Which attributes of the American customer would you love to see in the rest of the world that would make your life simpler? Are they more professional? Are they more...
I mean, they are very pragmatic, and they are
open,
not afraid, and very open, not afraid to take some risks. So it's my advice to French entrepreneurs who would think about going to the US is you really have your chance to succeed in the US if you really have a great product, a differentiating product. So that's maybe most important to assess. But not only with your French eyes, also you should explore and show your product to American potential customers to see how they view your product compared to your competitors, because you might be surprised by how they assess your product.
So we're going to wrap up soon, but just a few more questions. So do you think you have a secret sauce of success?
No, there's no secret sauce, and each one has its own recipe. But I think for the company, I would say the company recipe, which is bigger than my personal recipe, is I think have a long-term view. So thinking about long-term success, not short-term objectives, was the key for us, and really care about our people, to grow them and to rely on them and to trust them. So those are two things I think we did well, and which are really strong in our DNA, and that made a lot for our success. We have most of the people we have in our teams, especially in Europe, they've been with the company since 10 years, and they are still with us. They grew a lot. Yeah. And there's a strong attachment to the company from people. And that's very important for us, because, of course, we are working to build a great company, but we are very happy to see happy customers. But it's also very important for us to make sure we have happy employees too.
Any business hero that inspire you every day?
No, I'm just amazed and surprised. I told you how Elon Musk can manage 2 or 3 different companies at the same time. I don't know how he does that.
Okay. Any favorite business book you would recommend for other people to?
Yeah, last year I read a great book, which was *Sapiens* from
yeah.
And I'm reading now the next one, the *Homo Deus*, which is the next book, which is about the future of humanity and how humans are trying to behave like God and manipulate life, etc. So very interesting.
All right. Any word of conclusion you would like to?
No, I would just encourage. When I was in France until 2011, I think at this time there are very few French tech companies trying to go to the US and to succeed in the US. I think a lot of things have changed positively over the last months and years, and I see a lot of French tech companies coming to the US trying to develop their business here. I would highly recommend it. It's worth trying, and as French tech, we have very special strength, especially in engineering, in product engineering. Mm-hmm. And so it's worth trying at least to assess how great is your product, and if you believe your product has real differentiators, then all the rest is mechanics, and you will be successful.
And conversely, for American companies that are growing and who would like to
go in Europe, so I would tell them Europe is not the US. It's not a single market with a single language. It's a mix of very different countries with very different cultures, and you cannot manage Europe like one country. It doesn't work.
And how can they get the best of the French tech for their own company? What do you see? What would you?
I think they have to learn they can learn a lot on the way we engineer products, on how deep we go, and how I think French engineers like to deal with complex technical issues to solve. And I think what they like is building a simple product and build a great gift wrap.
So let's wrap that with that last sentence. Thank you so much, Daniel,
and good luck. If you are an entrepreneur and you consider coming to the US.
Absolutely. So thank you very much. Next month on October the 18th, we'll have another session with a brilliant entrepreneur and investor, Reza Malikzadeh, and we'll post that. I wish you a great day, and let's do business.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
The American dream
avec le génie français.